everybody. I'm so excited. It is Healing Tuesday, and I'm here again. Ha ha! I made it. I'm Dr. Torri J. Evans Barton. I am the founder and CEO of the Fatherless Generation Foundation, and I am super excited about doing this. I love Healing Tuesday. I haven't done it in a little bit, but I'm back and I'm doing it consistently. And I'm grateful to have you guys on here with me. Let's see who's in the chat. Hey, Paul. Hey, Darren. Look, we're in the chat, okay? Already in the chat. Tonight, I want to have a real, this is going to be a heavy conversation. I felt it earlier when I was putting it together. For those of you who are new to Healing Tuesday and you don't know what it really is, Healing Tuesday is all about the fatherless adult helping us heal from the pain that we have encountered from our journey. Yes, I'm going to say this multiple times tonight. Fatherlessness is trauma, is a traumatic experience. And too many of us don't think it is. It's just our norm. And so we think it is. Hey, Jason, how are you? And so tonight we're going to have a little bit of a heavy conversation. I want you guys to, oh, my phone is still, I thought I turned it down. And y'all gonna hear that all night long because it's been busy on these beach streets. Even when I'm in Atlanta, it's the same thing. But if you guys are watching this, share. And those of you who jump on and you're watching this in replay after the fact, I want you to just type replay in the box. I am not going to stay on here long. I am typically on here for 1 hour. 1 hour. And let me say this, I need you to engage. I need you to engage. Engagement is what I live for. Even the conversation last week, Novella came on and just kept me going and kept me passionate about what it was we were talking about. And I'm grateful for that. Let me make sure I'm sharing this on my personal page too, as I'm telling you guys to share it on your stuff. I don't always share it on my personal page, but I need to share it on my personal page. Just because. So while I'm asking you to share, I'm going to share myself, okay? Hey, Tokyo. See, every time I call his name, see, he runs now, you guys. He was on the floor scratching something, trying to fluff it up so he can lay on it. It is a banner. It is not, no, it's a tripod in a bag. It's not even for him to fluff up, but he will try to fluff anything up. But as I am sharing, I want you to share and go from there. We have the Fatherless Generation Foundation. Let me just give you a little bit of information. We have been doing the doggone thing on this social media. We are, I am live. Let me do some. Okay. I have witnessed some serious engagement on our page, and I'm super excited about that. Let me give you some updates. One of the things we posted was this gentleman, Landon Ramsey, about his 12-year fight to be, just a parent, just to be a dad in his daughter's life. And after a 12-year fight, he gained sole custody of his daughter. Through him being on the page and us sharing the video, we created a conversation. And this Thursday at 8 p.m., Landon is going to allow me to interview him, because I'm going to tell you right now, there was some really disheartening comments from the ladies. Yes, ladies, you guys were really wrong. Oh, well, why would you share your daughter on here? Well, the daughter, she's 12. She gave her father permission to share their journey on social media. And he didn't even have her in the video. He just talked about what he had gone through. And it was maybe a 2-3 minute video. And I'm going to give him an hour to an hour and a half. He's going to talk about his journey from alienation to reunification to sole custody. So I want you guys to tune in. That is Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And let me tell you something. I've already created the link, so you can go ahead and get the reminder. Just go ahead and click it so you don't forget. Just go ahead and click on that. Okay. And so also something exciting. I have released it to the public. I work to make sure that my coaching groups could get first dibs and my private group could get first dibs. But we are going to Sedona, Arizona in 29 days, Lord Jesus. And let me tell you something. I only have 30 seats available. This is not a big retreat. This retreat is meant to be intimate. It's meant to be private. It's custom and curated for the fatherless adult, male and female, to come and heal. My question to so many of you is, you have the career and the personal life that you desire, but there's so much blockage and pain that you're dealing with that you can't have the life and passion and the life of passion and purpose that you desire because your fatherless journey is in the way. Some of you know it. You don't want to deal with it. Some of you have not a clue. I need you to go to I've Got Daddy Issues.com. There is a retreat that's coming to Sedona, Arizona. I picked Sedona because I had an encounter with God last year in Sedona, Arizona. And I said at that moment, I'm doing a retreat here. Bart can tell y'all, I'm doing a retreat here. And so I'll put it in the chat, Jason, but I'm going to tell you right now, this thing is going to be powerful. I'm bringing Torri J and Company is now launched. Boom. That's officially my new brand. And that's what's going to be retreats, conferences, dialogues, journals, books. Oh my, like I'm coming with it. I've been really behind the scenes working on what it is that I needed to work on to get some things to the next level. And really, it's time for the new brand. It's time for the new thing. TFGF is growing. I'm gonna leave it at that. It's growing, and I'm getting out of the way and gonna do a new thing. So I'm talking about that tonight, just to let you know. Jason put the link in there, but sometimes that link is really weird. I don't know why. But I need y'all to understand that I'm not only bringing speakers to the table for I've Got Daddy Issues. I got my personal trainer. Okay. And she's helped me through some things. My personal trainer's coming to the table. Tania's coming. That's who has helped me when I was going to Spanga to lose a tremendous amount of weight. Now I'm back on it. I hated spinning, hurts my butt. But I'm gonna tell you right now, that thing will get you where you need to be. I don't like yoga, but how many of you know stretching and the resistance of your body weight will change some things? That's the stuff I'm bringing to the table. And then I'm bringing thriving mechanisms to the table, because I want you to heal, and you're going to do that, because I got sexologists coming. I got trauma therapists coming. I have relationship and marriage coaches coming, or therapists coming. I'm bringing surrender coaches. I'm bringing coaches who do mother and father wounds. I'm bringing dance coaches. Oh, I got my girl. We're going to do African and Latin dance, because you've got to find ways to release trauma. I'm bringing the young lady that I met through a workshop. She taught me how to do trauma attention and trauma release exercises. I'm bringing it to the table. You just got to get there. And I'm telling you right now, this is a small retreat. I'm not saying this to get you to come and get more people to come. I only have 30 seats available left. That's all I have. So after that, and the retreat is one thing, and you have to book your room and your flight. You're going to come out of a little bit of money for this, but I'm telling you right now, it's going to be worth every bit of it. I have been working on this for over a year. And I just released it to the public, and I know y'all like, but why just now? That's a whole nother story. But let's get into tonight. Can we get into tonight? And Paul said, bring it. Paul said it earlier. He was like, bring it. I'm going to go back to where Paul said it. He said, here we go. Bring it, Dr. Torri. I'm bringing it tonight. I'm bringing it so hard. I want to pray first. Okay. Y'all like, what? Yeah, I want to pray first. It's going to be heavy tonight. Heavenly Father, I thank you right now. I thank you for your spirit and your power. Lead me in what it is that you would have me to say tonight. But Father, I pray that you open the hearts of the people as they are listening. This is a time of healing. So I pray that everything that would try to come to distract them, to keep them from focusing on this conversation, that it be blocked, that it be delayed until after we're done with this conversation. Any emergencies, God, I pray that there are none. I cancel any emergencies that even trying to come to distract this moment in the mighty name of Yeshua. I pray, God, right now that you would speak through me loudly and clearly, that your people may be healed. In Yeshua, in Jesus' name, amen. All right. So y'all be like, why does she say Yeshua? Because I'm a believer and I believe in the name. Okay. So don't get caught up in those names. Okay. That is a whole different thing. And let me say this. There are times when I have said on my, I want you guys to be clear on who I am. I thought about this earlier as I was preparing. I tell you, I don't care what it is necessarily what you believe in, but I need you to know what I believe in. I'm a believer. I believe in the Most High God. I believe in the possessor of heaven and earth. I believe that Yeshua died on the cross for my sins. I believe those things. I'm not defining you by that, and I'm not limiting who watches this by that. But I need you to know what I believe in. Everybody's on a different journey. And as you walk through this healing process prayerfully, it will launch you into new levels within your journey. Okay, so let me say that. So tonight we're talking about the impact of the emotionally unavailable father. Now, Paul, I ain't gonna lie to you, I wasn't sure what I was gonna talk about tonight. I struggled up until about an hour, 2 hours ago on what tonight was going to be about. And I know you're like, really? Yes. Sometimes it doesn't come to me until just before I get on here. And that's very similar to sermons. Like I'll write a whole sermon and be ready to go. And Saturday night, Sunday morning, it's like, oh my God, I got some more information or I got something new that I'm supposed to speak. So know that sometimes I just don't get it. And I was listening to last week's conversation and I was still like, I'm not really sure where I'm supposed to go. And it hit me. It hit there. It was just all of a sudden, it just came out of nowhere. And it was like the emotionally unavailable father. We talk about absent fathers. We talk about fatherlessness all the time. But when we're talking about it, I always tell you, I feel like the emotionally absent, emotionally unavailable father is the most traumatic. But if we don't define that, if we don't define fatherlessness, so I'm going to define that in just a moment. If we don't define fatherlessness, many people won't think that that includes them. I've seen it time and time again. So let's define fatherless first. Number one, someone who's never met their father. That was me. Number two, someone who has a father who doesn't live in the home. It's a weekend dad, in and out every other weekend, that situation. I know, dads, you guys, that's breaking your heart, but that's one of the reasons we fight so hard for shared parenting, because we don't want dads to be visitors in the lives of their children. We want them to be parents. Can somebody say amen to that? Number two, or number three, we have a dad who has died and he has gone on to glory. And so the children do not have a relationship with him because he is no longer here. And number four, we're talking about the emotionally absent father. He's in the home, but he's not connected with the children. So tonight I'm going to talk about four different pillars, and I'm trying to be more structured in how I do this. So tonight we're going to define emotionally absent fatherhood. I'm going to get more into that other than just what I said. Number two, like father, like son, we're going to talk about how generations of emotionally unavailable men breed the next generation. Number three, we're going to talk about a father's emotional baggage, how you've got to work through that and get rid of that and unpack it so that you can create and raise stable children. Number four, we're going to talk about the habits you learn from an emotionally absent father. I don't want to say that these are in any particular order. You can move them around as you desire. I'm not saying one is more important than the other, but as I look at it, there are moments when the perfectionist in me wants them in order based on priority, maybe most important, but I think they all carry a level of importance. And I want to also say, I know that this is live on LinkedIn, and some people are like, why is this on LinkedIn? This is a professional group. Because like I said, with my I've Got Daddy Issues retreat, there are so many people who've achieved success in their career and their professional life, but they're still dealing with daddy issues. They still have issues that are breaking their hearts and that keep them from the purpose and passion and the fulfilled life that they want to have. And that's why I want to make sure that anytime I'm doing Healing Tuesday or I'm talking about I've Got Daddy Issues, that I am also streaming this on LinkedIn. So let's go ahead and get into this because I am at 9:15. I'm counting it down. And once again, if you have jumped on, I want you to share this conversation on your page because it's about to get real. It's about to get heavy. And if you are watching this in replay, please put replay in the box for me so that I know that you've watched it afterwards. So here we go. Defining emotionally absent fathers. So I read a very powerful quote earlier today, and it says, when you can't connect to someone emotionally, it can be challenging to connect with them in other ways, even if you're a parent. Whew. If you cannot connect, or when you cannot connect with someone emotionally, it can be challenging to connect with them in other ways, even if you're a parent. That's deep right there. Because I know a lot of people feel like, well, I'm a parent. If you're a mother and a father, especially a mother, and let me say this, mothers can be just as emotionally disconnected and unavailable to their children as fathers. But because we're the Fatherless Generation Foundation, we are specifically talking about fathers. And I will tell you, I will jump in here at times and say some things because I have experienced what it's like to have an emotionally unavailable parent, mother, and I know what that feels like. It is one of the most. I think that's worse sometimes than the emotionally unavailable father. And see, here I go categorizing again. um, they're all bad. Let me just say that. They're all bad. So when it comes to defining the emotionally absent father, the definitions that I found on a few websites, let me read some of them. They are not comfortable feeling their own emotions. They don't like sharing emotions with others or being present and responsive to someone else's emotions. Whew. I know some of us going to say, that sounds like somebody I dated. Wait for the next one. Emotionally unavailable fathers have a negative impact on their children in many and multiple ways. These fathers often prioritize material things, other people, and their work over their children. How many of you have gotten into the rat race or the rut of being a provider and you're trying to find the balance, but your father taught you how to be a provider, and that's what you've done, and that's what you've been? That's your being. You are not intended to see. Let me stop right here. Dad, father, God did never intend for you to be in your being a father, or a provider in that way. Your sole identity, let me say it this way, your sole identity is not provider. You have the same ability as a mother to nurture, you just nurture differently. Fatherhood looks different than motherhood, but I don't want you to get caught up in societal norms. If we gonna break the norms and roles in when it comes to women, can we do that for men too? Can we stop perpetuating the idea that men aren't nurturing and they're not nurturers? Because they are. It just doesn't look the same. And too often, when you ask a woman or even some men, what does fatherhood look like? They don't even have a real definition. They don't even know what manhood looks like. And let's just keep it real. We lean so heavily on fathers don't know this and men don't understand that. But ladies, you don't understand either. You have done what so many mothers say, done the best that I could, right? I'm quoting that. I'm putting it in quotations because that's the work. Because when you say you did the best that you could, it ain't good enough. It's never good enough. But then you will put men in a box and in a situation and say that they're not good enough and they're not doing this and that. You don't have a book on it either. Can we just go there? Breathe. Like she already going in. I am. And it's 919, my favorite room at my favorite hotel. It's got the best view. And that's the synchronicity number too. Um, but it's real. So emotionally unavailable fathers have a negative impact on their children in many ways. These fathers often prioritize material things, other people, and their work over their children. They avoid emotional conversations with their children and do not facilitate a safe space for their children to discuss their feelings. They often withhold or deny affection, approval, and positive regard, leaving the children with unresolved emotions themselves. I'll go back to that. Sound like some of the people some of us have dated, and I'm not just talking about ladies, I'm talking about men too. See, look, Paul said, here we go. Paul, when I'm ministering, one guy says to me before I go up, Elder Corey Marchand, he says, "Be nice now." And so that's where you're going. You're like, "Be nice now." There's a niceness, but there's a time where we have to hit it home, and we have to break the mind, like take just boom, just unlock this mindset that people have, Paul. They have a mindset that is definitely a barrier. In the church world, they call it a stronghold. It's locking you into a belief system. That's cognitive behavior work. locking you into a belief system, and it keeps you stuck in places that just aren't, they're not productive. They're actually counterproductive. This is how you find yourself in fatherless situations. Okay, so let me go here. Last week, we talked about attachment styles and how this is actually rooted in parental alienation. If you didn't hear that, go back and listen to it. It is amazing how that was some stuff y'all don't even be knowing. Oh, I'm not a therapist and I don't play one on social media or in real life. I am a minister and I'm an advocate, and I've done this work long enough, and I'm a coach. I have different certificates and certifications in different aspects, but I am not a therapist and I'm not trying to be one. I work amazing alongside other therapists, or alongside therapists with and for my clients. So just know that's something that I do. But as we talked about this last week, it was a pretty powerful conversation, and it's how it led me into this conversation. The idea of emotional unavailability encourages healthy attachment during childhood. The idea of emotional availability encourages healthy attachment during childhood, but it also includes a parent's ability to create a positive emotional environment that supports learning, independence, and personal growth. If your parent isn't trying to get you to learn, now some of you are like, well, why wouldn't my mother or my father want me to learn? Learn is what I'm talking about. Learning is not schoolwork. Learning means learning the patterns in the family, learning negative patterns and behaviors, learning what you need to heal and break, learning like that kind of learning. And it goes along with independence. Independence, not enmeshment in a relationship with a parent. Too many parents have enmeshment with their children. That's how alienation starts. And personal growth. I know you guys are like, that's not true. Yes, it is. You know how I know? I talk to thousands of people. And the parents, especially you mothers, my God, you guys do not want your children to leave the nest. You don't want them to leave you because you set up a life all around them. You ain't been on a date since they was born or their daddy left. And maybe you went on a date, but you haven't had a real relationship. And now your entire life is around this child. And so once they leave and get independence, you're left by yourself. And so you fight to ensure that doesn't happen. You push to make sure that your child is not learning certain things, especially about you. You are pushing. Yes, I will explain enmeshment. You are pushing to make sure that they don't have personal growth and independence. You want them completely dependent upon you. And some of you will go as far as to create destruction in their marriages and their relationships. You will cause chaos, and you will go see so and so and so and so to put some little sprinkle on their situation. I said it on here because y'all gonna have to learn today. I don't play these games with these people out here who do things to the nth degree to ensure that their children are locked into a relationship with them. So I'm gonna give you an example of enmeshment. I can give you an example better than I can explain it on here, because I think enmeshment gets kind of complicated. So when a mother looks at her son and says, "You're now the man of the house," and he becomes the man, and he becomes her emotional support throughout his journey. He becomes her emotional support. He's her place to dump emotional baggage and emotional this and that. That is called enmeshment. That's a part of the idea of enmeshment, where emotions are are definitely confused. They call it emotional incest. They call it surrogate husband. Those things where the children become a support and an emotional support for the parent in a way that they're not designed to do. Parentification is a part of enmeshment. Okay. So that's because I don't want to get too therapeutic technical, because I told you I ain't no therapist on here. I know how to explain it in that way, but I think that can get kind of lost in translation. I hope that helped, Jason. Okay, so wait, Paul said it's real and we need to pick up things. Hold on, my thing popped up. We're afraid of. Come on, Paul. Too many of us won't have these conversations. We will not have these conversations. It's one of the reasons why I started I've Got Daddy Issues podcast, because it allows us to connect the dots to our pain while looking at pop culture. Because you watching celebrity news, you're watching the latest and greatest. You notice that Nick Cannon had his 8th baby today with his 8th baby mama, I think it is, or whatever it is. It was really kind of kooky and crazy. And so we talked about that. We talked about, is Nick Cannon really creating a legacy, or is it another fatherless generation? And he's already got baby, I think number 9 or something coming. Like they just coming. And he's already had conversations on social media where it's becoming difficult for him to manage this. Duh. And he's called himself polyamorous, or yeah, he's living a polygamous lifestyle or a polyamorous lifestyle. I'm not sure which one it is, but from my conversation, it's neither. It's trauma. Okay, that's what it is. And so that's one of the reasons I did it, because as Paul put it, we have to be able to and talk about things that we're afraid to pick up on. And he says the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth. I got you. And so I don't even know what you mean when you say, Darren, you made an 11-minute movie about it. And let me go here. Here is the nuts and bolts about the definition of an emotionally unavailable father. They may have lacked the ability to offer their emotional reactions in the face of your emotional need. I'm going to put this in the chat. Yeah. I'll put this in the chat. I think that's important to give that to you. Simply put, oh, he made an 11-minute movie about the birth of his son. I tell you, I can't. I ain't even gonna go down that line right now. But yeah, it's a father who lacked the ability or lacks the ability to offer their emotional reactions in the face of your emotional needs. Point blank, period. Okay. So as we've defined that, I'm getting it's getting short. I'm at 9:28. I like to count myself down. This is something that I'm starting to pay attention to. Let's go to point 2, like father, like son. The generations of emotionally unavailable fathers. Emotionally unavailable fathers often come from generations of fathers who are just like them. This isn't new to them. This is a part of the culture of this family. Emotionally unavailable fathers who were raised in dysfunctional homes have been shown to lack emotional maturity in adulthood, period. And unfortunately, they tend to repeat the cycle, the family cycles, when they don't get help and the things that they need. What I think is just so important to this is they lack emotional maturity in adulthood. When you are raised in a fatherless home, I don't know why you ladies think that you are giving your children every single thing they need when developmentally a father is there to do something as well. You can't step in and be everything to your children because you don't have the components men have. I think it's one of the reasons why so many women have started to walk in so much masculinity. And then when we are raised in single parent households, we tend to take on our mother's pain and our mother's disposition, and we walk in that masculine energy as well, and not a lot of feminine energy. I have to walk in a lot of masculine energy to do this work, but I have really started tapping in more and more into the feminine part when I'm at work. The men that I talk to need that part of me. They need the logical, thought-provoking, way that I process. They need that part, but they need. Yeah, Bishop Jake said it too. He did. And Darren, I said, you and I have had these conversations, but I love it when somebody in the forefront says the things that I've been saying in the background. I'd be like, I say it in a coaching call. It's not like I can put it on social media. I don't put my clients on social media. But Bishop Jake said it. And women were offended, Darren. Oh, you should have seen the comments in some of these posts. You ladies cannot handle the truth and accountability. I don't need a man. You know why you don't need one? Because you become one. Hello? This is why you don't need one. You become every single thing that a man can need. You're the provider, you this, you that. You got everything covered. And then when somebody tells you that's who you are, no, I'm not. You've been bragging about it. How is that not who you are? Darren, help me help them. I cannot understand for the likes of me how we get here. It was one of the best statements I've ever heard him say. That's what Jason said. Because people are walking into this truth where they're not, where ladies, you're going to be held accountable in ways that you are not prepared for. And so you think when we say dysfunctional home, that means a home with a father. No, that means a home with just a mother. You cannot develop your children with everything they need when you are missing one of the key components, their father. And let me say this. We already talked about the definition of fatherlessness. Their father may have passed on. Their father may not be available because of whatever the situation is in a custody situation, a custody matter. However, when growing up in my household, there was a village, right, that existed. And there were some men in that village. Brother James, Brother Sid, like there were individuals in my life, right? Selby, like there were certain men around. You guys don't even have any men in the village. You don't have any men, like not one. I don't understand. Anyway, I'm gonna get off that soapbox. So emotionally unavailable fathers who were raised in dysfunctional homes have been shown to lack emotional maturity in adulthood. And I want to go back to this. And then you wonder why so many women say he's immature. Ladies, he didn't get the maturity. He didn't get the development he needed to be mature. And men, you got to go back and do the self-help, self-development necessary to get that. That's not an excuse for you to walk around immature. That's not an excuse for you to walk around without the things that you need and then be in a relationship going, well, I don't have it. You have to go get it. You have to go get the counseling. You have to go get the therapy. You have to go get the work, get the books, the self-development books. Okay. She said, I'm immature. Don't be defensive. Take it in, process it. I'm going to get on the men real quick because the ladies probably tired of me riding them. Men, and someone, let's go here. When your wife, we'll go to your wife. When your wife tells you that you are this or that, she's not trying to tear you down. She's trying to get you to show up as the man you said you are. And so if that means that you've got to go get some stuff, you got to go get some help, you got to lean to people who know how to help. See, one of the things I recognize in certain situations is when men need help, they start leaning to the other men in their circle to get help. And then when they can't find help in that circle, they go, there's no one to help me. Yeah, because your circle is jacked. They actually been enablers all this time. That's what that should show you. If you don't have any men in your life who can help mature you in certain areas, those men were enablers. When you start turning to your friends, your uncles, your brothers, they just enabled your behavior. They don't have not one answer for you. You know why? Because you didn't develop relationships with men. I'm going to leave it at that, with men, period. You developed relationships with males in this adult body who still process as women who didn't have fathers themselves. Fatherless men have a lot of fatherless men in their circles, and they are not helping one another. They think they are. They just stirring the pot. And when I say stirring the pot, I'm not talking about just stirring up issues. What I'm talking about is they're just kind of stirring the stuff around, and just it's like a hockey puck. It just moves. It never gets resolved. It's just a conversation. If you're having the conversation at all. And then it goes into, you lack emotional maturity in adulthood. And then unfortunately, you tend to repeat the family cycles when you don't get the help you need. I've already said that. I just said that. They can't handle constructive criticism. That's both of us. That's fatherless sons and daughters. Because you know what we go to, Darren? Who you think you are? My daddy? Well, you didn't have one of them. So stop using that as a way to push people off. You didn't have a daddy in your life, babe. So maybe they are coming in the form of a dad to help develop you in the areas that you're lacking. Let's go there. Then here it is. Paul said, brothers, peel back the layers, ask questions, and work on the root problem. Come on, Paul. Last week I said, I'm a root worker. Some of y'all, I know, I felt it. Some of y'all wanted to take that into some witchcraft and voodoo stuff. I don't play them games, and don't try to put that on me. When I'm talking about a root worker, I go to the root problem of a situation. I don't want to play with all of the symptoms and the stuff on the leaves and where'd this start? When was the first time you felt this way? See, that's what we doing at I've Got Daddy Issues retreat. Y'all better find that link and get up in there, because I'm telling you, it's only 30 seats available, period. I ain't got no more room, and the hotel ain't going to give me no more room. And I'm pretty sure from what I know, Sedona is booked during that time. Then Jason said, true story. Oh, I said this last week, Paul. Emotional intelligence is learned and extremely powerful. If you don't have that book, Emotional Intelligence 2.0, get the book, take the test, read the book. You got to take the test first, read the book, and then practice it, and then take the test and see how much you grow. See how much you've developed. See, self-development, self-help, those things are necessary when you are fatherless. You don't get to just be who you are. You don't just get to be the person that you desire to be. Oh, I've always been this way. Well, you need to fix it. Well, nobody else has complained about it. Yes, they did. You just didn't care because you didn't have the emotional intelligence to care. You didn't have the emotional maturity to care. Jason said, you've got to ask the right questions. Let me tell you something. We'll ask the right questions so we think of everyone else, but not of ourselves. Jesus. The only way to break the negative family cycle is counseling, therapy, which is providing you with the tool and the tools to separate a father's actions from your own sense of self and self-identity. You can't get this any other way. I need you to jump in on the counseling and the therapy. Oh, hey, Apostle Nirvana, how are you? She said, you are blessing fathers and families everywhere. Whoo, because we got some stuff coming for them. You better tell them. We got some stuff. I need you guys to understand, and we're going to talk about breaking the cycle in a moment, because we hear it all the time, and I want you to really know what it is. Breaking generational curses, breaking the cycle. What does that mean exactly? I'm going to get there. Don't rush me. The only way to break this negative family cycle is counseling. What does that negative family cycle look like for some of you? Some of you, that looks like single parenting. You a single parent, your mama was a single parent, your grandmama was a single parent. Like, you just see it over and over again. Divorce. Whew. Divorce is in your family. Your mama divorced, your uncle divorced, your brother's divorced. Oh, I'm gonna get there's a post I'm gonna read here in a moment, because there's a blog that I saw, and I'm like, this is so powerful. I need to read this in the conversation. I'm looking at my time too. I need to read it because it is a part of the family cycle. Some of you don't realize that womanizing is part of your family cycle. Having multiple women, dog your daddy out for how he treated your mama, how he had multiple women and this and that, and having children over here, and you having them too. You doing the exact same thing, but will still dog your father out while you're practicing the same thing that you talking bad about him. Come on. Stop. Treat women bad. We're going to get, that's another conversation. Not another one, but we're going to get there. Welfare is one of them. You're right. Joseph is right. One of the negative family cycles is welfare. Absolutely. Because that's that single mom cycle. Children born out of wedlock is extremely growing currently at 40%. This tells me men are not working on their baggage. Oh, Paul just called out the men. Come on, Paul. Paul called out the men. Now, I've seen some new studies where two-parent households are currently on the rise within the African-American community. So hopefully that will shift, because we was the first to get into this crazy cycle. I know y'all get touchy. It ain't about race, but it is about how this started. We're going back to the root worker in me, okay? I want to touch the root. See, Joseph then came with the drinking and the drugging. Absolutely. Sex addiction. I just talked about it. Womanizing. See, some of you are like, well, I'm just sowing my oats. What oats do you have to sow? I'm going to pull it up on my phone. I'm going to read something to you guys. And it's something I've been meditating on in the last few weeks, because I'm like, wow. There's a place, in scripture where, yep, I'm going to scripture. where we always say a man should want a Proverbs 31 woman. And Proverbs 31 is this thing like we look at a field and we buy it. Our husbands talk about us at the gates with the other people. But here's the crazy part. When I looked at that, I was like, and for some reason at this moment in my life, I looked at it and said, that's like, that ain't even the big part of being of Proverbs 31. I want to read this to you. This is a mother's words to her son. This is Lemuel's mother speaking to him. He's a king. And his mother, it says, the words of King Lemuel, the utterance which his mother taught him. What, my son? And what, son of my womb? What, son of my vows? This is what I want you to know. Do not give your strength to women, nor your ways to that which destroys kings. That part right there, y'all ain't ready. Woo! Joseph said, we got to be the man that a Proverbs 31 woman wants. Oh, woo! Come on, Joseph. Because what men don't understand who call for a Proverbs 31 woman, oh, her price is far above rubies, and he who finds a wife find a good thing and obtain a favor from the Lord. You know what a Proverbs 31 woman does? And I found this challenging, not because of me, but I found it challenging because men, y'all ain't ready for this. The reason he was able to sit at the gate and brag about his wife is because she put him in the position to be there. See, some of you struggle with your manhood when your wife that you have asked God for puts you in position, puts you on platforms, and then you don't feel adequate. You don't feel good enough. That's who she is. She's the one you asked for, and now you're cursing the very thing that you asked God to gift you with. Lord have mercy. But let me go back to this. Do not give your strength to women, nor your ways that which destroy kings. You know what's your strength that you keep giving away to women? That's what Nirvana said. That's called help. Tell them, like, come on. You know what's your strength? Your seed, sex. You know what destroys kings and has brought many of you down? Is having sex and sowing what you call your royal oats. And so now you can't even rise to the occasion when God brings you the Proverbs 31 woman. You can't even be what you're supposed to be because you done gave your strength away. You gave your power away. Nor your ways to that which destroys kings. See, you want to be called a king, but you've been with women who destroy kings. Now you don't even have a kingdom. Vark and I used to always say, it destroys kings and kingdoms. Okay, I'm at 9:44 and I got a ways to go. And I don't want to be on here all night. I got other stuff to do. Trust me, I do. Number 3, a father's emotional baggage is what we're going to talk about. I jotted down here because I feel like you got to know. A father didn't just become an emotionally unavailable father. He didn't. A father's emotional baggage comes from somewhere. But here's the thing. A father must unpack his emotional baggage so he can raise stable children. With all of this baggage, you can't raise stable children. You've got to unpack it. Emotional baggage is considered trapped emotions, and it comes from difficult or traumatic circumstances that you faced in your life. FYI, fatherlessness is traumatic. Fatherlessness is trauma. It is a mental health injury and it creates one. You want to know why you keep going on a cycle and you continue to have all of this happening to you? It's because you don't even recognize the trauma that you're in because we have so normalized fatherlessness. You want to be a king while out here playing like a boy. Paul, where you been? He's like, no, where you been, Dr. T? Okay, so I want to read this blog to you. I got to read this part of this blog to you. This thing right here, whew, I was like, I'm not even going to try to, I'm not even going to try to play this game. I'm going to read this to you. It says, once upon a time, there was a boy named John. John had stars in his eyes. Then life changed. You see, John didn't recognize it, but in an unfair rite of passage, John's father trained his son to be just like him. Every time he emerged on the scene, he made sure he deposited his machismo thoughts into his young son's malleable mind. He intentionally taught John to degrade women via the blatant disrespect he showed his mother. Men, please show the mother of your children respect so that your children know what that looks like, especially your sons. He impressed upon his son the importance of keeping BITCHs in rotation. And he only seemed to gleam with pride when his son was acting out. If John was in the streets fighting, his father would rave about how good he was with his hands. Trained by his superhero, John quickly learned to hate women and to blame the female species for all of his shortcomings. Praised for showing aggressive emotions like anger and hostility, he instinctively made women the casket for his rage. That line right there, come on. With ease, slur words of hatred escaped his lips, and he never thought twice about the venom he injected his women with. He often used the word sorry to con his way back into hearts he'd left in ruins. John is now an abuser. John had a son, and the cycle was repeated. John used to have stars in his eyes. That right there, I know y'all like, what in the world? What? Yeah, that right there is a lot. I want you to know, in order to travel lightly through your life and through your journey, you have to drop off your childhood luggage and never look back. And dropping it off means unpacking it. I'm not talking, you can't just get rid of it. It doesn't just go away. You got to be able to unpack it and never, ever look back. How you unpack this luggage, this emotional baggage you're carrying, you got to look at what your parents taught you. You got to recognize what you observed. And you got to deal with the absence, not only from the other parent, but from both parents. I want to look, I have a guilty pleasure. Because sometimes you guys don't realize that just because your father wasn't present doesn't mean, how do I put this? Let me make sure I put this right. The absence of the other parent is one thing, but the absence of what a healthy relationship actually looks like played out in front of you is another thing. It's one of the reasons I do the husband and wife mentor teams that we do, because I want children to be able to see what a healthy relationship looks like. It is hard to duplicate and replicate what you've never seen. And when we have the husband and wife mentor teams only in Atlanta, and we only have a few right now just because of COVID. It's very hard to do that right now. We make sure that our children don't have a single mentor. We're not talking about a single, like a big brother, big sister only. We're talking about they're immersed into a two-parent home, and the father takes on a leadership role in their lives, but they get to see the dynamic of both of those parents, because I noticed that was the thing that made the difference in my life. It made all the difference. One of my guilty pleasures, reality TV. Real Housewives franchise, only certain ones. I tend to watch only certain ones. I ain't gonna get into which ones, but I was watching a recent episode of Real Housewives of Potomac. That thing on there, if I talk about toxic mothers, I need to find if I can get Candace on here, because that thing right there, talk reckless to people and then be mad and complain about how reckless her mother talked to her. You learned that somewhere, girlfriend. But Pastor Jamal Bryant and Giselle Bryant's daughters recently had a strong talk with their mother. Let me tell you what they told their mother on an episode. I had to raise up. It was like this weekend. I was laying in the bed, chilling. I had to raise up in the bed going, what they say to their mama? And this is Pastor Jamal Bryant's children. And that goes back into part of the conversation we had a moment ago, because he got multiple children in multiple situations. And these little girls didn't even want their parents to get back together. They had this strong talk with their mother, and they told their mother, We don't, and we can't look up to either of you on what a healthy relationship is supposed to look like. Can you imagine having your teenage, the oldest is 17, and I want to say the twins might be 14 or 15? Can you imagine having your daughters tell you, you are not an example for me? You are not the blueprint for what I'm looking for. We don't even know what it looks like. We're going to have challenges, is what they said. We're going to have challenges when it comes to this because you guys didn't demonstrate that in front of us. We do not live in a world where it's do what I say and not what I do. Have you not noticed? Have you not noticed that you repeated the cycles your parents told you not to? Don't get pregnant as a teenager. Don't get pregnant up in here. I'm gonna put you out. You got pregnant anyway and still got put out. And some of you got pregnant and didn't get put out. But there was things that your parents told you not to do and you still did them because they were doing certain things. And don't talk about going to church because some of y'all be like, well, we went to church all the time. Yeah, but were you living church in your home? Was the kingdom of God manifesting in your household and how you behave and how you live? And many of you, the answer is no. So that means that you just had religion. You did not have relationship. In order to unpack this emotion and baggage, I got 8 minutes. Jesus, and I got way more to go. Well, I got one more point to go. To unpack emotional baggage, you must, number one, recognize you are not your parents. That's number one. Number two, here we go. Break the generational curse. I told you earlier, we hear this all the time. Break the generational curse, the generational cycles. What are generational curses? Generational curses are simply habits and traits that are so ingrained, so entrenched within your lineage of family to the point where you see 4 and 5 generations of the same behaviors. We already talked about them. Divorce, single parent homes, drugging, drinking, partying, womanizing, sexual addiction, smoking, like the list goes on. Just go to the negative statistics of fatherlessness and you will see it. I said it on a thing that I did on Thursday. No, it was Friday on my impact to fatherlessness. And I talked about you've outperformed the negative statistics, but not the behaviors. Go watch that one. Many of you think you've broken the curse, but you haven't. You still living that life. You're still living through that. Yes, breaking the patterns. Oh, I got to go back to this. The king is only built with God in your foundation. My personal opinion. Mine too. I didn't bring any water over here. Number 3, have a conversation with your parent, dead or alive. That sounds rough, I know. I have a video and y'all like, dang, she got a lot of stuff. I do. And I ain't charging you for any of it. It's just online. I had a conversation with my single mom, found out about her journey. And when I say dead or alive, I'm talking about some of your fathers are passed on. Like I said, write a letter, have a conversation, do your best. I know a conversation isn't supposed to be one-sided, but you can have some level of communication by writing it out, by journaling it. If you can't talk to your parent, and sometimes the initial way to talk to a parent is writing a letter. Number 4, forgive. Whew. I know we don't like that word. Sometimes forgiveness doesn't come immediately, but just say, God, I forgive. Like, just pray that you forgive them. Just go through the prayer of forgiveness and just pray that that's the door that opens up. Because I'm telling you, the more you say it, it'll open up. It'll reveal itself. It'll manifest in your life. Okay. Because it's hard to forgive people who have hurt you. It's very difficult to do that, especially people who betrayed you on levels that some of you have been betrayed. I also found another blog that I liked that had some interesting ideas. We're going to talk about right now the habits you learn from an emotionally absent father. This is my last point. The habits you learn from an emotionally absent father, an emotionally unavailable father. Oh, this one's tough. Number 1, needing constant reassurance. Number 2, I'm going to put these in here. Can I do that? When you need constant reassurance, and I'm definitely someone who's had that as a part of my journey. Now, there's a difference between needing constant reassurance because you had an emotionally unavailable father. Sometimes you need constant reassurance because you have an emotionally available partner. That is a whole nother, kind of the same. And here, ooh, do you have an emotionally unavailable partner because you had an emotional unavailable parent? That's a good question. And so you need the same constant reassurance that you needed from your father in your spouse, in your partner. Whew, think about it. Number 2, filling the void with other things. We've talked about some of these other things. We talked about them tonight. Number 3, these are habits you learn from an emotionally unavailable. I'll get tongue tied saying that all the time, from an emotionally unavailable father. Number 3, whew, you fear abandonment. That's where codependency starts to step in and yeah, becomes a whole issue. Al-Anon. I remember sitting in the car while my mother went to Al-Anon meetings. And I think that was partially because she had an emotionally unavailable mother. And there were times when my grandfather wasn't where he needed to be either. This can happen in two-parent homes, people. Craving number 4 is craving male attention. Now, let me go back to Jason. Jason said, when you can allow compassion to get in there it is. That's how you forgive. You can realize that each person comes to the table of life with areas that they may not know how to deal with. You realize that they may be just reacting to things and don't yet know how to respond to them. It helps you truly to forgive. Compassion is the step. The only way you can forgive is by seeing people with, not in their humanity, but with human eyes and human hearts. You've got to have compassion. You've got to have compassion. Needing constant reassurance, bam, hit hard. I wanted that in my 20s. Luckily, I started identifying in my 30s. It gets so much better. It does. Because many of us need that constant reassurance and we don't realize it. And men, I think it shows up differently. Even when I'm putting these up here, so much of this sounds like a female, right? So much of this sounds like what we think is us. But let me tell you, this is men too. And I'm about to get some places where when I was typing these out, I was like, ooh, this is me. I'm a people pleaser, assuming that everything is my fault. That's partially because that's how it was played out in my childhood. That's partially why. Here, number 6, men, you guys will say this is women, but I believe you guys have levels of this too. It just looks different. And ladies, I need you to know that some of this is us, yes, but I need you to know that it looks different in men. They got the same issues, clinging into relationships, and y'all like, prove it. Here, I'm gonna go here. Now we say this is men all day. Oh, number 7. Whew. Y'all ready? Number 7. Bam. Fearing meaningful intimacy. I'm gonna put that up on the screen. Y'all say that's men all day. But I know women who feel the same way. They don't want any of this. Oh, I don't want, I see these posts. Oh, I don't want marriage. Oh, no. I don't want to be vulnerable. See? Oh, Paul just put that up there. Brothers, work on being vulnerable. It's how you keep your marriage and your relationships. Vulnerability. We go back to emotions. I know men think that they only have one set of emotions, anger. Oh, you didn't. That's right. Y'all don't think anger is an emotion. Let me help you out. Anger is an emotion, but it's not the only emotion. Go back through the pictures that I've posted because we posted all the different emotions and feelings that exist, and it's a whole good. I don't know. It's hundreds. So don't think that it's just happy, sad, mad, glad, that kind of thing. It's much more than that. Despondency, frustration, hmm anger. Those are emotions, right? They're afraid of the rejection from sharing that vulnerable aspect of themselves. Absolutely. They're afraid of the rejection. They're afraid of being judged. And sometimes, let me say this, I've judged. I have. Hi, my name is Dr. Torri. I used to be very judgmental. But there's a place where you have to listen, ladies, and not judge the situation. because what you'll cause him to do is shut down, and he'll feel rejected because you made the face, or you said whatever you said. Like, it just doesn't, when it comes to your husbands, ladies, you have to hold it together, because any inclination of rejection, they're going to shut down. They're going to shut down. I know I didn't do it well. I don't have a poker face, and I definitely didn't appreciate feeling like I was lied to. And so that became a part of, like, I just lived in resentment, and I lived in a place of resentment. I did. No question about it. Because I wish I would have been told some of this stuff beforehand. I do. So that's another story for another day. Number 8, having difficulty with other people's emotions. We've been talking about that all night. We've been talking about that all night. So I'm not even going to go back into that. That's number 8. Number 9. Look, I'm out here putting all this together. Struggling with authority figures. We talked about this last week a little bit, because this is one of the behavioral issues. This is ODD. I know y'all like, odd. Yep. I need to put that in here. Yeah, there's behavioral disorder. Hold on. I'm going to put this. Let me see. And so much of the time, I think this is a good definition. Oppositional defiant disorder is a type of behavior disorder. Children with ODD are uncooperative, defiant, and hostile towards peers, parents, teachers, and other authority figures. But most of the time, I'm going to tell y'all, this is about daddies. Majority of the time, it's about fathers. This is something I think mother and father do, unfortunately. But dads, when you are outside the home, this is you right here. Overcompensating in the way that you parent. You feel guilt and shame concerning it. And mothers, you overcompensate inside the home, creating spoiled brats. I heard, I've said it, and I've started reading more people saying it, especially on TikTok. And they're like, mothers, these boys that you're raising, you wouldn't date them. They're the very men that you're complaining about, but you've overcompensated in the way that you parented, because you had some habits that were formed and that you learned from an emotionally unavailable or absent father. And here's the last one. Being a perfectionist. Whew, I had to learn the hard way that done is better than perfect. You hear me? Done is better than perfect. I don't have to show up perfect. I don't have to show up in a relationship as perfect. I did that so often, wanting to make sure that my husband was pleased, and wanting to make sure my husband was happy with the marriage. And I was trying to be perfect. And what it did was make him always feel like he wasn't perfect. I was doing that to keep him happy. See, that's that people pleasing. See, we can call it a bunch of different names. It's people pleasing people. It's people pleasing. And I learned that growing up. I know y'all like, what? Yeah, I learned that growing up. When you don't know how a person is going to respond when they walk through the door, and you're afraid of what that's going to be like, because you've had people in your life who, maybe wasn't so kind along the journey, or they had their own set of mental health issues. And so there was manic, and then there was depression, and then there was these highs and lows that you always lived in. And so you learned to people please to keep yourself safe. And being perfect was what I learned was necessary to keep myself safe, keep myself out of harm's way. The aversion to rejection becomes the platform to shield the vulnerable areas, leading to the thinking that the other partner's being lied to. The fact of the matter is that they have been, but the context was not understood. There was no malice, just selfishness, self-preservation. That's an interesting, okay. I'm gonna have to marinate on that one, Jason. Yeah, that's a good one. Hmm. Tonight was a great conversation. I know some people are like, oh, it's 10 o'clock. We got to get off of here. I'm going to finish this up by telling you, instead of continuing the patterns you were taught and staying stuck in your trauma, you need to learn what you need to do in order to heal. Because there are many things that are available to help you. I read a couple of things. One is called the emotion code. It actually helps you identify trapped emotions so you can release them. Just type in the emotion code. It's a pretty interesting way. They're going to just take you back into conversations about, where did this start? Root work. Come on. Also, the emotional availability assessment. I love this one. I didn't see a link. If I see a link, I will put it in the comments. It actually assessed parents on 4 scales. Sensitivity was one. And this means your behaviors and emotions from the behaviors and emotions from the parent that create a positive emotional connection to their children. That's sensitivity. Number 2, structuring. A parent's ability to support learning, understanding, and personal growth in their children. Remember, we talked about this earlier. The mesh parent doesn't want you to grow. They don't want you to learn, and they don't want you to understand, because the moment you start doing that, you start figuring out the things that they've done and the patterns that they've continued, and they don't want you to know that. Non-intrusiveness, how successfully a parent can allow their children to be independent, how successfully a parent, they're determining how successfully you as a parent can allow your children to be independent. That is non-intrusiveness. Do you, mama, let them go. Cut the apron strings, baby. They 50 years old. Cut it. They 60 years old. Cut it. Let it go. They 20 years old. Cut the apron string. Non-hostility, the level at which a parent regulates the expression of negative emotions towards their child. Okay, so let's talk about regulation. Emotional regulation is the ability to recognize, manage, and respond to your emotions. One of my coaches is big on regulation. Maston Kip is amazing at talking about regulation. And not only does this assessment look at you as a parent, but it also looks at children in 2 areas. It's the child's responsiveness, how willing and joyful the child is to interact with the parent, how they are. Are they excited to interact with you? Are they happy that you're around? Child involvement, the rate at which a child wants to be involved with the parent and what they're doing. See, just because you don't think you're emotionally unavailable doesn't mean that your child feels that you are or that you aren't. You've got to realize this. Just because you don't think that you're someone who's emotionally unavailable doesn't mean that your child doesn't think you are. The assessment requires you and your children, that second one. Thank you, Jason, for typing those in there. It's very important. So I need you guys to understand the impact of that being emotionally unavailable is having on your children, and I need you to fix it. I need you to get that together so that you can unpack all of this stuff and you can raise stable and healthy children. Many of you think you are, especially you dads who you've been around, you've been in their lives, and you think your children are healthy. And I can take one look at your children and say that they're not. And you get upset and offended because you're like, but I raised my children. But wait a minute, listen to me. It's not from it should not be from a place of offense. That's how you raise narcissistic children. When you can't take constructive criticism or someone evaluating and examining the situation saying that child isn't as healthy as you think they are. They perform. Whew! Y'all raising a lot of performers, because guess what you are? A performer. And you raise children who perform, and then when someone tries to correct or critique them, you go, leave it alone. Let it go. I remember somebody telling me on a phone call, if you think she's fatherless, you are wrong. Y'all, how many of you know? I never said she was fatherless. It never even came out my mouth. I was actually telling the father he needed to spend more time with her. Just because she was in her 20s did not mean that she didn't need him. And when she was moving around and doing things in college, didn't mean she didn't need him. I was telling him he needed to go do that. And then guess who got blamed? I did. Really? And then it had to come to a head when the child found out. No, she was telling me I needed to see you. She was telling me I needed to. Yeah. Whew. Let me tell you something. I will never, ever, ever, ever be, I will never work the Fatherless Generation Foundation and be in a relationship, telling on myself, where I have a man withhold his time and his love from his child. Now I'm going to correct your child if they're a spoiled brat. I don't care what age they are. I will correct your child through you and tell you what they've got going on when it's appropriate, when it's excessive. And that was part of my issue too. I waited too long. When they are doing things that are detrimental to me and being harmful to me, and I ain't got time for it. Love some kids and then they act like you don't love them. I will never tell a man not to see. I'm pushing more. Because you're not finna make me look crazy. You're not finna ruin the brand off of a lie. You just not. She's not fatherless. How many of you know when people start screaming what somebody isn't, there might be some residue and there's some stuff there that maybe they are in some way, shape, or form. Not completely. And that's part of your issue as well. Let me get off here. I got 3 minutes. Let me get off here, 10:15. Part of some of your issues as well is thinking that because you had a father in your life and he filled places in that you needed and in developing you, that you had everything you needed and you're missing it in some areas because maybe he was fatherless and he didn't have it in other areas either. He didn't have it in the areas that you needed. He didn't even know what to give you. And I said it earlier. If he don't have a group of friends he can turn to get the knowledge, he doesn't have it. And so in some ways, mama, your baby is fatherless. And that doesn't have anything to do with me. That's reality. And we can't deny, just because you deny it doesn't make it a lie. Like, just because you deny it doesn't make it fact. Like, it's a fact. It's a fact. And it's not just for that situation. There's some of you who are on here and it's factual for your situation. If we don't make reality wrong, we'll be able to take in the truthful statements and grow from them. Come on. That's a lie. There's some bars right there. We always want to make reality not reality. We want to make it wrong so we don't have to live in the truth. You got to own your truth. Own your truth. So I'm going to get off of here, but I'm going to announce again. I put the link in there earlier. We've got a retreat coming up. Once again, I'm going to say it to you one more time. I only have 30 slots. Only. That's all I got. And so if you want to come to this retreat, I've got Daddy Issues retreat. It is a retreat. Go onto the website. I'm going to post it here again. Go onto the website. It tells you everything you get from that. It's not, you're getting a lot of stuff. Trust me. I don't like to charge people a whole lot of money, but this is going to require you to dip into some stuff. Yeah. Gas went down. Y'all out here shopping. That's one of the reasons I was taking a little long to release it because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. But y'all out here shopping, y'all out here living, y'all out here cruising, y'all out here doing everything. Y'all out here doing everything but healing. And so I'm going to put it out here. I'm going to put it out here. I'm telling you, I was like, well, we'll just have the 10, 15 people that we've already had sign up. No, we're going to push this. Okay. So I've Got Daddy Issues is in Sedona, Arizona, one of the most spiritual healing places I've ever been in the United States. You're going to be able to have time in the retreat, but also go out and experience the healing power of Sedona. I am not keeping you held hostage into a building. And the hotels that we have locked in, they're like side by side. We have the courtyard and the residence inn. So you can have a kitchen in one if you want to bring your own food and cook. And then the courtyard, they're both beautiful. They have an amazing view of all, like, just go look on the website. Go now. And then go to I've Got Daddy Issues podcast on YouTube. We are killing it out here. There are more episodes coming. I'm starting to tape more. We have been producing 10 new episodes. I'm excited. Oh yeah, this is going some places. And yeah, I can't wait to and I'm going to put it out early because we're looking at the venues now. But I am doing, starting January of 2023, or in January of 2023, I am doing what is called mother-daughter dialogues. You don't want to miss this. If you got a mommy issue, you don't want to miss this. Okay. So as I start to talk about this more, it is January 2023. I probably will put out a form where you can pre-register and be on the wait list, because that'll be larger than 30 people, but it won't be huge. And you need to bring your mama. I need your mother to come with you. If your mother can't come, let's talk about that. But I need mothers and daughters face to face in a room. It's time we learn who our mothers are as women, because we're carrying around their baggage too, ladies. And we're carrying it into our relationships, and we don't even know it because we haven't had those conversations. I was blessed to have a conversation with my mother a few years back, and it helped me tremendously to navigate who I am as a woman. Okay. So I am Dr. Torri J. I'm 2 minutes over when I said I was going to get off here. Enjoy your evening, and I will see you guys on Thursday night. Thursday night is Mr. Landon Ramsey. Don't want to miss that one either. All right. Have a great night, y'all. Bye-bye.